on today's video, the big push is finally upon us. We've been saving for months and months at a time. Speed ups, resources, everything. And it finally came down to this one mightiest governor. This is none other than my tier 5 push. This video will have everything you need to know about the road to tier 5, the entail of it. I did a lot of economy. I did every single one of the big researches, all the numbers, everything you need to know about pushing tier 5s in this video. I spent hours making this video, so I hope you take a moment to enjoy this video, smash a like on it, and roll the movie. Hey there YouTube, welcome back to Gekko Gaming. Today the big video is here. The tier 5 push is upon us. And this is not only me showing off, hey, I got tier 5s, look at how I did it. This video is gonna have all the information you need to know about pushing for tier 5s, the late researches, the economy researches, everything you need to know along the way to make sure you are prepared to get your tier 5s and that you know each step of the way how much it'll cost and how much you need. Now, we're gonna go over all the numbers, all the everything. If this video is helpful for you, make sure you're smashing a like on the video. I spent quite a lot of time not only recording, but also processing the data and making it available for you guys. If you want to see the Excel sheet I made with all the researches I did, 106 researches, and everything including the amounts of speed ups, the amounts of resources, the amounts of time I saved with helps, all that stuff is on the Excel sheet. If you want it, leave me a comment down below and let me know. I'll probably post it on the Discord group. And of course, make sure you're smashing a like on the video. Now, let me talk to you about the setup. The setup was pretty simple. First, we had to go into Korea to get that 3% extra research. Second, I needed to wait for the right moment, which was the time our leader decided to pop the research kingdom buff. And third, I had to pray that we get a good research rune, which we got a 10% research rune, not a 15. So this wasn't the most optimized push. There could have been. Why did I do it? I had a level 10 research that I've been holding on to, letting it go naturally for 60 plus days. It got to the point where when I pushed, it had 3 days remaining. Think about it, a level 10 research, which after all the helps and everything is 60 plus days, it ran all the way down to 3. Now, what you guys are seeing right there is a little tip I will talk about in a moment, but remember that moment right there where I made a marker of myself and changed the text. I needed to do this, and I wanted for a long time to wait for a proper research event to get 20 legendary commander sculptures. But then I realized that that's not coming back anytime soon, and all the research events also had training in them, so any tier 5 can overtake me at any point. And so I figured maybe do it in Mightiest Governor. Now, our leader told us that for this Mightiest Governor, and from now on as a kingdom, we're gonna limit the amount of killing event points you can get, because quite honestly, it's pointless to get millions and millions of killing event points because you're fighting your own kingdom and your own alliance, wasting each other's resources and speed ups for nothing. And so he limited the amount of killing event points we could get. And I knew that if I ended up in the top 15 at the end of day 4 of stage 4, then I could guarantee my Constantine unlocking. And so I aimed for that. I had plenty of tier 3s to upgrade to tier 4s to get points on day 1. I hunted a bunch of barbarians to get a little bit of points on day 2. I gathered as much as I could on day 3, and I'll give you a small tip about that in a moment. And on day 4, this happened. At 2 p.m. UTC, after we hunted the guardians and whatnot, kingdom buff was enabled and things got crazy. So I knew that for kingdom buff, I wanted to do at least the big researches to save as much time as possible. And of course, I needed scientists. Now, what you guys are going to see is scientists going across the screen the whole time, changing hands. Because quite honestly, our R4 Faye, who is insane, big shout out to Faye, she did an unbelievable job, was transferring that damn scientist between people like no one's business. And so you can see that in most clips, I start zoomed out, looking to make sure I have the icon. And when I got the icon, I instantly went in and did what I needed to do, start the next research. I did a total of 105 or 106 researches. And to give you a little bit of context, it cost a whopping 539 million food, 548 million wood, 396 million stone, and 286 million gold to get this insane push going. Thankfully, I've been saving and hoarding for so long that I had no issue with any of these things, as last time I counted my speed ups, which wasn't too long ago, but it's not as accurate, there were more than this. I had an astonishing 1104 generic speed ups and 164 days worth of research speed ups. So a total of about 1200 speed ups for this and 1200 days. And some people on the stream which saw this and did the calculations and whatnot, more accurate calculations, made it to about 1400 rather than 1100 and some, but let's keep it at that just for now. To give you a little bit of context on how many days it could cost, keeping in mind that I only had a level 10 rune, a 10% rune, as that's all we could get at that time frame, a 10% rune, scientist, Korea, and kingdom buff. All four brought my cost down from, well, we were at 1190 days, about 1191 days total. Now, because some of these big researches, I waited for helps. The helps alone saved me 252 days worth of speed ups. So at the end, I ended up spending about 923 days worth of speed ups to get this done, which is kind of nuts. It's really, really kind of nuts. Why did I hoard? I hoarded so you guys can have this on your screen. At any point, you can stop the video on a research that you guys are on, or a research that you guys are curious on, and you can see all the resources, all the time it takes, and in some cases, you can even see the amount of time helps saved. I stopped and recorded all of this. A few points here and there I forgot to record, but 90%, 95, 98% of everything is in the video. The whole point of this was to have a video on YouTube that would show you everything you need to know about the tier 5 push. Let's start with a few very important points. The first one is that you have to finish up your economy. Why is that? Because to get the final combined arms 10 research, you have to have cutting and polishing and I think it's called carrier, something carrier, at level 10. And to get those to level 10, you pretty much have to get the rest of the tree done. And so what I did was, during the kingdom buff, I went for the big researches, and anything below 10 days, I just sped through it, didn't wait for helps. Anything above 10 days, I waited for helps, but not all the time till the end. Sometimes I gave it a certain amount of time. As many helps as I got is what I used, and that was that. The big researches that were like 60, 20 plus days, I waited for 30 helps regardless. And so it saved me a huge amount of time. Once, you'll see in a bit, I had to do a lot of my economy in this, and the economy was actually done once kingdom buff was over. I didn't fully maximize the efficiency because some 2 or 3 of the biggest researches, 2 big researches were done after kingdom buff was over, and they were done with a rune, with Korea, and with scientist only. So that was a little bit of a downfall, but quite honestly, getting 105, 106 researches done in 3 hours, being that all the kingdom wants scientists as well, and you gotta wait for helps. And I had 1 hour out of the 4 hours a training session that I had to go to. It was everything I could get done, and quite honestly, I am very, very happy with the result. We went up a huge 15 million power and picked up 30 million points on stage 4 of Mightiest Governor, which placed us in 12th place or 11th place at the end of it. And that meant that so long as I get the maximum amount of killing event points I can get, I was guaranteed a 12th place. Thankfully, I managed to stay on 12th without maximizing the points, as really nobody gave too much of a rat's ass about the killing event. It makes sense. We're looking to be competitive next Lost Kingdom. Every single minute you're wasting of speed ups, of healing speed ups, and of resources healing, because you're fighting your own friend, because your kingdom needs 100 million points in killing event for you to end up top something, it's just detrimental to your own kingdom. If you're out there hunting your own farmers out there in your kingdom, one day Lost Kingdom will come by and those guys will not be useful because they're out of troops, because you either hunted them or because they cannot heal, because when you hunted them they had to heal, and so forth and so on. And so I knew it is now or never. We do the push, we do it well, and it is what it is. Now, I gotta give a big shout out to Faye, our R4, who throughout the kingdom buff went nuts, transferring that massive scientist title across hundreds of people, and having me nagging her, every other person, to pass me scientist. And she honestly did so much work that day. Thank you very much, Faye, for all the work and for helping me get this done. It was unbelievable. Now the question is, which tier 5 did you unlock? If you guys are watching at this point, you probably realize that I'm going for cavalry. And I was contemplating between cavalry and infantry. And I almost actually unlocked both. I would have unlocked both if I had either kingdom buff or a rune. By the time I got to unlocking infantry, the final research, the cavalry research, was done. Well, the cavalry research was done about 20 minutes before the rune expired, and I pushed a bit forward, you'll see in a moment, to get that infantry at least to a decent shape. I pushed to my infantry, I don't think it's in this video, but I pushed the infantry research a little bit to get into a decent shape. And so in this video, you'll see a growth of 13,791,000 points, power. But after unlocking the cavalries, I went on and upgraded a little bit of the infantry researches as well to get a little bit ahead. But unfortunately, the rune had expired. There is no kingdom buff. I'm not going to be doing 80-day researches and 50-day researches without a rune and whatever now. It can't be only on scientists. And so I did not unlock infantries. Why did I unlock cavalry? Honestly, I don't foresee myself in a war until Lost Kingdom 2. But I do see myself hunting barbarians, doing Karok, doing barbarian forts, and doing all these events that will require me to move fast on the map. And so those cavalries are going to be huge to help me do the PvE stuff. By the time I get to some PvP action, I will for sure unlock infantries and maybe even archers. And so, yes, I won't have that gap of time to train those types of troops, but I am saving up once again my training speed ups to potentially get there when we unlock them. I still have plenty of both resources and speed ups left over. As a matter of fact, I still have 408 days worth of generic speed ups left, and stupid amount of resources in my bag, over 250 million of each resource. So I am not too worried about potentially having to either rush those tier 5s or having to defend myself consistently healing and warring it out. The account is not depleted, but we were saving for months for this to get done. Just to give you guys a little bit of context, and I forgot about this thing I wrote down. Scientist was so crucial that some of the things that I did without Scientist ended up costing me a decent amount. A level 10 stirrups, however you call it, research, which is the final research with the two horseshoe thingies, where you put your shoes on the horse, whatever it's called. The level 10 research without Scientist actually cost another day and hour. Level 7 and 8 of encampment without Scientist cost me an extra 23 hours. And so Scientist was crucial to get the job done, but sometimes, unfortunately, it was either give up the 8 hours worth of speed ups because Scientist is moving around and I can't wait, or potentially miss out a kingdom buff later on a big research. And so some of these researches were not fully optimized. I'm super glad with what I got. I'm super glad with the result, and I'm happy to finally be a tier 5 player. Training tier 5s, of course, is super expensive, and so now we start gathering and preparing to train tier 5s. I won't be training strictly tier 5s. I want to get a comfortable amount of tier 5s where I can get 1 or 2 marches of tier 5s, full marches of tier 5s at least. And then from there, stack up more on the tier 4s, as most likely what will end up happening is I won't be sending full tier 5 marches anywhere unless it's some PvE where it doesn't cost me that much, I don't get that wounded and so forth and so on. But on the battlefield, we're definitely looking to mix up tier 5s and tier 4s and not only send strictly tier 5s. And even sending only tier 4s if possible. What are the things that I learned out of this? First of all, the first small tip I have for you guys is what I talked about in the beginning of the video, which was that little icon I created. If you want to quickly get Scientist and you don't want to be spamming your chat, you can create a marker by clicking on you and saving a marker and then changing the text from your name to Scientist please, and then you can share that in your alliance chat to instantly have a thing saying Scientist please, that when you click on it, it takes you to your city. The second thing I learned, which has nothing to do with this, but it's a tip from Mightiest Governor for those of you who are still in this video, is that gathering day doesn't mean that you have to gather on that day. It means that your troops have to come back home on that day. So what you can do is you can get 2 full marches, full of troops of course, to gather multiple nodes. And as long as you make sure the actual marches are not going back home, you stop them on the way, and you bring them back home when the gathering day starts, you're actually gonna get a massive amount of points. Someone actually had a full march that had gone for about a week around the gem nodes, picking up as many gems as possible, and when he came back home, he came back with like I think 5,000 or 6,000 gems that he had gathered in a couple of days and got massive amounts of points very, very quickly. It's not really worth the effort, but if you're trying to get the best bang for your buck in a Mightiest Governor, you could do that a couple days before, get a full march, get as much gold or as many gems or as much food as you want based on, you know, what you're trying to do. Gold and gems are of course the most important and biggest point givers, so you really want to get those. But if you want to do it with wood, food, or stone, potato, potato. At this point, I was pushing my economy. I was towards the end of my economy, and this was a huge pain. Remind you guys could see where I started my economy. My economy wasn't the greatest. There were some researches like plow that were at level 2, and so I had to push through all those small researches, doing the speed ups, which meant go to the biggest speed up and then work your way up. The reason I do that, by the way, is because you can get to a situation where you only need 5 minutes to finish a research. But if you don't have a 5-minute tile or a 10-minute tile, you're now gonna end up spending a 15+ minute tile on 5 minutes. And so what I always did is I went down all the way and worked my way from the biggest speed ups all the way to the smallest speed ups to make sure I maximize my efficiency. Not my efficiency, but I maximize the use of the speed ups. Efficiency would have been just click, 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 click as fast as possible, but I could have reached a scenario where I would waste minutes because I didn't have a small speed tile for that specific amount. And so as I pushed through what was this, sawmill all the way to level 10, I was getting close. This was towards the end of economy. Still had plenty to go regardless. To get those last courier and cut and polish, you got to get everything else done, and that was kind of ridiculous. It was kind of ridiculous. The biggest research out of all of them is Combined Arms 10, which was 109 days without helps, without helps and without a kingdom buff. It was 114 days without the rune, but then I picked up the rune and that dropped 5 full days, which was kind of nuts. After helps and everything, it went down to 80 days, 16 hours and 54 minutes. Of course, you can get it down further by having Kingdom buff and a 15% rune. But based on the situation we had, that was the best I could do. I think the most interesting thing was how to manage both the resources to ensure I always have resources, as well as to not waste time all the time. So you can see every now and then I would do something like this, where I would just open a bunch of resources so I can continuously plow through stuff. The economy was unbelievably expensive for resources, but not that terrible in terms of speed ups. The amounts of points you would get, power you'd get out of the economy was kind of garbage as well. But the amount of power you'd get out of the levels 9 and 10 tech researches was bonkers. Some of these researches were like 974,000 power, which during day 4 of Mightiest Governor means that you are actually getting twice that amount in points. And so when I got 15 million power, I ended up picking up 30 million points in Mightiest Governor day 4, putting me at the top by a mile. The next guy after me had 15 million points. Now, as we are nearing the end where, you know, the economy is finally getting its way, only coinage I think is left. And then from coinage, we are done and good to go. This was super tedious and I just sat there and went one after the other. This wasn't something that you needed helps with and all that. Too little time, not worth the effort. If you ask me, anything above 10 days is worth waiting a little bit. But if you're crunched on time, anything above 10 days, you set an amount of time you're willing to wait for helps. And anything above 20 days really becomes profitable for you to wait the full 30 helps. If your alliance is around, you can get it done instantly. And if your alliance, as it was in the case in this scenario, when it got a little bit later in the day, when people are less available, then helps can be a very big pain in the butt. You can see right here, we were towards the end. I wanted to show you guys how much the helps helped us out with this last economy research. We check out, we have scientists still, and we go for combined arms 10. Little bit of resources missing out. Had to open up more of those bags. Faye, don't kill me. I know you don't like that, but I had to put that combined arms. Made double check that I have scientists, that I have the rune available, and ba-bang, there goes that. Medical Corps was the last one before the tier 5s, and then we went with the good calves. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope it was informative. I hope it was what you guys were hoping to see out of a tier 5 push video. If you have any comments, questions, suggestions, feedback, anything, leave me a comment down below. Go join the Discord group. I can post this Excel sheet on the Discord group if you want. I did promise you guys an Excel sheet for Mightiest Governor, which I'm still working on making it the best possible out there. That's on the way as well. But for now, this was my tier 5 push. And fine, I actually did a couple buildings here and there. Like I did like two levels of gold mine to get a little bit of extra points, just because I wanted to get that gold mine to level 20. So I get the achievement of having all the buildings at level 20. And so Medical Corps was started. Medical Corps was waited for. We got 30 helps. We picked it up, and then we did the final big boy tier 5 research. I'm Gekko. I'm out of here. Thank you guys very much for watching this video. If it was informative, if you guys enjoyed the video, make sure you're slapping a like on the video and subscribing to the channel. Tomorrow's video might be one you do not want to miss. I'm telling you, you do not want to miss it. I'll see you guys sooner rather than later. I hope you enjoy my tier 5 push. I hope it was informative. I hope it was everything you guys wanted. It was everything I wanted. It was a lot of work to get this video out, so really hope it helps you guys out in some shape or form. I'll see you guys sooner rather than later. Let's watch the end of this as I triggered this research. Finally, I was looking at it. I was like, I have to take a screenshot. So I took a screenshot of this before, and then I think I took another screenshot after I started it. It was like, it was a day we've been waiting for very long. And for the record, I did end up picking up Constantine. I'll see you guys sooner rather than later. Take care. Peace.